Did you know Psychic type is weak to common fears? Did you know Drowsy is based on a taper? Oh, you did? Good. Then I'm going to tell you some facts about Pokemon that you actually don't know. My name is Finn, and this is not your normal fact video. I like to search out things about Pokemon that are genuinely obscure, things I doubt most Pokemon fans have ever heard. And if any of these are new to you, you should subscribe. We're getting kind of close to 100k, which has always been a dream of mine. But anyways, let's do this. I'm sure if you've played Pokemon Crystal, you remember how after you beat the 8th gym leader Claire, there's an additional bit of story where you have to travel into the Dragon's Den and take a test to determine if you're worthy of the badge. After this, when leaving the Dragon's Den, Claire will then stop you and give you the TM for Dragon Breath. Well, I would like to propose a question. What if inside of the Dragon's Den, after you took the test, but before you could leave, your last Pokemon in your party ends up dying to poison damage? Do you just not get the TM for Dragon Breath whatsoever? Well, no. Actually, for some reason, you end up getting 2. Upon waking up in front of the Pokemon Center, if you enter back into Claire's gym and speak to her, she will play the same dialogue line as she normally would, but then if you head back to the Dragon's Den afterwards, as soon as you land on this tile, the original cutscene will play and she will give you a second Dragon Breath TM. In Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl on Route 225, there's a very interesting NPC that's hiding an Easter egg that I'm almost positive you missed. Her name is Ace Trainer Deanne. As you probably know, cherished Pokeballs are practically unobtainable without a cheating device, only capable of coming from certain event Pokemon. Then how on earth does this random trainer Deanne actually have a Tropius in a Cherish Ball? Well, this is not an oversight, and it's actually a nod to the first ever event Pokemon distributed in a Cherish Ball, which was Shokutan's Tropius all the way back in 2007, as part of a campaign for an old Japan-only Pokemon-themed TV show called Pokemon Sunday. In the Pokemon League and Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, there's an interesting quirk with these lights that I can almost guarantee you did not know. And that is the speed of how fast they flash, because it actually changes depending on what localization of the game you have. In the Japanese versions, they're much faster than the North American release. In Generation 1, Aerodactyl was unable to learn the move Earthquake, but later on when transferred to Gold, Silver, Crystal, it gains the ability to learn this move. The reason this is interesting has to do with Pokemon Stadium. If you use the time capsule and trade an Aerodactyl with the move Earthquake back to Generation 1 and then to Stadium, something very interesting will happen. Because you could only transfer Pokemon into Stadium from Red, Blue, or Yellow, Aerodactyl was technically not intended to have this move. And when used in battle, you could see an entirely unique Aerodactyl attack animation for this move only. To my research, this is the only time Aerodactyl uses this animation in this game, and there was a point in time between the release of Stadium and Gold, Silver, and Crystal where seeing this animation was completely impossible. In June of 2008, Pokemon held an event distribution for Deoxys in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. The event was held at GameStops in the US, and to promote this, they handed out flyers promoting the event Pokemon. But for some reason on this flyer, there was a pretty huge mix-up. Where it shows the information about this Pokemon, it says the event is for Darkrai instead of Deoxys. Shout out to Professor Rex, you guys should go subscribe to him by the way, who literally photocopied this for me since there are no pictures of this on the entire internet that we could find. In Pokemon Black and White 2, if you do not collect this max potion from Route 11 and then you use your dowsing machine by this city, it will reveal that there's a hidden item here, but then the hidden item will disappear once you collect the max potion. So for this next fact, we're going to take a stroll over here and oh my god, is that a shiny NordVPN? This video is sponsored by NordVPN. NordVPN is not only the fastest VPN out there, but all it takes to change your virtual location and protect your data is a single click. I'm serious, I switched it on and off 4 times during this single sentence. And if you ever find yourself wandering through Return of Forest and crying because The Office was taken off of Netflix, aha, you just activated NordVPN's hidden ability. By switching your location, you can also access shows and movies that would normally be completely blocked in your region. For example, a simple switch to Canada unregion locks every season of The Office. So go to nordvpn.com/Finn or click the link in the description to get an exclusive deal, and if you change your mind, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Thank you Nord for supporting the channel. Now back to the video. In the game Pokepark 2, most Pokemon seem to use their anime voices rather than their static Pokemon cries from the usual main series, which is interesting when you realize Porygon Z is in this game. And for reasons we're all aware, Porygon has not yet actually appeared in the Pokemon anime. So if you're curious what he sounds like, here it is. And it's weird. In Pokemon Go, every single type has a specific background that correlates and fits that type. But what's pretty weird is because the type of pure flying is quite rare, before Tornadus released in Pokemon Go, not a single Pokemon used the flying type wallpaper, and Tornadus is still to this day the only Pokemon who has it. Before Generation 5, you might be aware that Self-Destruct and Explosion have an interesting way of dealing damage. These moves have their damage number purposely set incorrectly. Instead of using the base power stat of 250, as you might know, it actually halves the opponent's defense when you use this move. But what I recently found out is the reason they had to do this is because having a move's base power written as 400 or 500 would actually take too much memory for just 2 moves. So this was actually done out of necessity. On November 14th, 2014, the day Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire released, the Pokemon Company had an event Pokemon distribution that was available for a few months. And I bet some of you who got the game on release probably picked it up as well. This Pokemon, of course, being the shiny Steven Stone's Beldum, given away through Wi-Fi. But there was a detail that has to do with this Pokemon that you may have missed. If you received this Beldum sometime during your playthrough and then complete the Delta episode, when speaking to Steven Stone, something very cool will happen. If you have this Beldum, he will give you a secret line of dialogue where he actually references the Mega Evolution special episode of the X and Y anime. This is really cool because it only happens if you received this Beldum. If you're just playing through the game normally, this will not happen at all. There is an unused track in the Pokemon Red and Green soundtrack that you're listening to a rendition of right now. The track was intended to be a victory theme in these games, but those of you with a keen ear will have noticed that it actually went on to get reused in Generation 2 as the Mount Moon Square theme. But surprisingly, that's not where this ends. If you speed up the end of battle victory theme from Pokemon Stadium 2 to 2 times the normal speed, you'll find the final resting place of this originally unused theme. For about 6 years, the theme then appeared again in the Diamond and Pearl theme that plays when you score a jackpot in the Game Corner. Sadly, there was no Game Corner in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, so we never got to hear it remastered. Well, that's actually not true. It doesn't even end here. The theme came back as recent as 2022 in Pokemon Legends Arceus, as the theme that plays when you complete the event that lets you watch Clefairy's dance under the moonlight, a direct callback to its official origins. Pokemon is truly one of a kind when it comes to recognizing and acknowledging its lore. Even its soundtrack has Easter eggs from over 20 years ago, and that is pretty rad. Every single Pokemon has a number of colors that make up their design. These colors are then arranged into a palette inside the game's code, each one of these colors displayed somewhere inside the in-game art of this Pokemon. But for one Pokemon, this is actually not the case. You see, when adapting mini Pokemon into their sprite versions for these games, the spriter's references was old Generation 1 artwork. This is proven in other sprites, such as how Machamp lacks its belt entirely, and Nidoqueen bearing both of its fangs, both features that are only present in the initial set of artwork, and the in-game sprites of Generation 3. And as the official art developed, many of these features were retroactively changed in every future entry to the series. Which brings us to the Venomoth oddity. When unearthing Venomoth's code in Ruby and Sapphire, there are multiple different colors of yellow in this palette that went entirely unused in the final rendition. And this is not normal. Its palette is different because, like I mentioned, the sprite team was referencing the Generation 1 art of Venomoth, and when you see Venomoth's art, you can see it was incredibly different than its current design, the overall tone of the Pokemon lacking its purple hue and showcasing bright yellow spots on its back, that are now entirely gone from not only the Ruby and Sapphire sprite, but the entire existence of Venomoth itself. Every official art of Venomoth besides this one does not contain these spots or this color, meaning that the process of changing Venomoth's appearance happened during this game's development, and the coder in charge of swapping over the palette in these games simply forgot. And now the last remaining piece of history being this block of yellow hidden in the game's code, that when compared to the original, shows us a nearly perfect match.